So, let's talk about AI. It is completely rewriting the rules of the modern workplace. But here's the big question. Is this the dawn of some amazing new era of productivity, or is it the beginning of a job apocalypse? Today, we are digging into both sides of that story. Okay, let's just dive right in. It all kicks off with what feels like a corporate gold rush. A brand new survey from KPMG shows this absolutely staggering leap in CEO confidence. Get this, just last year, only about 21% of chief executives expected to see a real return on their AI investment within 3 years. Fast forward to today, that number has just exploded to nearly 70%. So, the C-suite isn't just dipping their toes in the water anymore, they are going all in.
So, this massive wave of investment is obviously going to reshape, everything. What does this AI-driven future actually look like for the rest of us, for the people working inside these companies? Let's take a look at that from two very, very different angles.
First up, let's see how business leaders are picturing AI changing their own organizations, from the top down. And they're not just thinking about new gadgets or products, they are literally redesigning the very structure of the company itself.
What we're seeing is this fundamental shift away from the traditional company pyramid we're all used to. Nearly 7 out of 10 CEOs now see an hourglass model coming. What's that? Well, it's robust at the top with senior leaders and at the bottom with entry-level workers, but it has this much thinner kind of squeezed out middle. And why is that? Well, it's because so many of those mid-level tasks, synthesizing data, managing projects, writing reports, are exactly the things AI is getting really good at. And that puts middle management, directly in the path of this disruption.
KPMG's U.S. CEO, Tim Walsh, really captures the feeling in the boardroom perfectly here. He says the disruption is a sure thing. The real question is just how much, how fast, and how deep is this change going to cut? That is the great unknown that every single leader is trying to figure out right now.
But, while the C-suite sees disruption as a strategic puzzle to solve, a totally different and honestly far more alarming warning is coming out of Washington, D.C. And this one is all about the human cost.
A recent report from Senator Bernie Sanders' office puts a really jaw-dropping number on the table. 100 million. That's right, 100 million U.S. jobs could potentially be wiped out by AI. The report basically warns that this wave of artificial labor could trigger an economic upheaval faster than we are possibly prepared to handle.
And look, this isn't just about automation in factories or fast food joints, where, over 80% of roles could vanish. The report specifically calls out high-skilled, white-collar jobs as being directly in the crosshairs. We're talking accountants, software developers, and even nurses.
So this is the really crucial point. For decades, the solution to new technology taking jobs was always retrain. But this quote just hits on a fundamental problem with that thinking now. The old advice to learn to code kind of falls flat when AI is also learning to code, potentially closing off the very escape routes we've always relied on.
But here, this is where the story takes a really fascinating turn. Because amidst these two wildly different visions, one of corporate reinvention and one of societal crisis, leaders from both of these camps are somehow finding common ground on one truly transformative idea.
And what's just incredible is the consensus we're seeing. From tech pioneers like Bill Gates and NVIDIA's Jensen Huang to Wall Street giants like Jamie Dimon and, yes, even political leaders like Bernie Sanders, they all seem to agree on this one thing. AI is going to be so productive that it's going to make the traditional 40-hour work week a thing of the past.
So this brings us to the real debate, doesn't it? The question isn't if our relationship with work is going to change, it's how we as a society decide to manage that monumental shift. And fundamentally, we're facing two very distinct paths forward. The first path is a corporate-led one, all about retraining workers for new jobs in this new AI-powered world. The second? Well, it's a policy-driven path that wants to restructure our entire concept of work. So, path number one. This is what leaders like KPMG's Tim Walsh call the retrain exercise. It sees this whole thing as a massive internal evolution. The goal here is to figure out what tasks AI is going to take over and then help employees develop the new skills they'll need to manage, to oversee, and to work right alongside these new technologies. Path number two, championed by Senator Sanders, suggests a legislative solution. A 32-hour work week, but with no loss in pay. The idea is that this would allow the enormous productivity benefits that AI creates to be shared across the entire workforce, which would ensure economic stability and actually improve the quality of life for millions. Okay, so after walking through these two powerful, competing stories,
What's the one thing we can say for sure, as we're all standing here on the brink of this massive transformation?
So where does this all leave us? Well, the future of work is still being written, but the main themes are pretty clear. You've got this explosion of corporate cash flooding into AI, which could reshape companies into that hourglass model and squeeze out middle management. At the exact same time, we're staring down the potential disruption of millions of jobs. But, in all this uncertainty, there's that one surprising point of agreement. A shorter work week seems to be on its way. And that leaves us with a fundamental choice. Do we adapt by retraining people for new jobs or by restructuring our whole relationship with work itself? And this isn't just some abstract debate for CEOs in a boardroom or senators on Capitol Hill. It's a question that's heading straight for your career. As AI joins your team, is it going to demand that you learn a whole new set of skills, or will it simply demand that you work fewer hours?
Thank you for watching Senator Bernie Sanders' dire warnings regarding the widespread job disruption expected from artificial intelligence and CEOs' confidence in AI investments. See you in the next episode.